The Grosse Ile Township Commerce Park Commission meeting to order. Mr. Tenova, would you lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the agenda is roll call. Mr. Moran is here. Mr. Rathel? Here. Mr. Mans?
Here.
Mr. Filarski's excused. Mr. Hornby?
Here.
Mr. Tenova?
Here.
And Mr. Porcelli. Next item on the agenda is is there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Move approval as submitted.
Motion by Mr. Rathel,
Support.
support by Mr. Mans to approve the agenda as submitted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Next item is the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of October 18th, 2021. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to read those. Is there any questions, comments?
Move approval as submitted.
Motion by Mr. Rathel, support by Mr. Tenova. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is our financial report for October 2021 and November 2021. Those were all included in our packet, and hopefully everybody's had a chance to review those. Is there any questions or comments? Let's see. The November financial report indicates that we have a budget of $978,581. Our year-to-date revenue against that budget is $732,288, which is 75% of our budgeted revenue. Our expenditures are the same, $978,581. Our year-to-date encumbrances and expenditures are $603,008, which equals just a little bit less than 62%. Our capital reserves as of the end of November are $599,660, and our past due rent summary is $18,801.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Rathel.
the only question I have is, Janelle, do we have a fuel inventory yet, or on the fuel farm?
No, not yet.
So on this, we have the inventory value, right? That's what we put in that. We do have fuel though, right? We have. Okay.
No, we do know how much, but I didn't put it on there.
You could add that for the December report, Janelle, that would help us.
Want to get any updates on the 60-plus day past due?
I think we have that on one of our items on the agenda, don't we, or no? Nope, I guess not. Janelle, do you want to give an update? I know you've been tracking our leases, and I know there was Skyline, you had instituted some action. Do you want to give us a summary of that?
Yeah, I can give you a rundown from, if you start with the top tenant, Building 63. As effective today, we have an agreement between them and us, so the tenant and the landlord. In the agreement, it was as follows. So December 10th, they agreed that they would pay $2,500 payment. That payment has been received. December 17th, there was a payment of $2,500 that was received, which is bringing us to the outstanding balance of really it's $19,851, which will be paid in full no later than January 5th of 2022. So that payment will include the February rent. So that was, agreed upon. I put that in the hands of Mr. Sword,
That was all done by legal counsel.
legal counsel, yes. The tie-down tenant, I'm not sure, he moved. I have called many numbers and haven't been able to track him down. I think I tracked down a potential, address for him, which I have now forwarded on to the accounting department. Wentworth, number 3, which would be one of the T hangers. I've been able to track them down. They're actually going to be getting that aircraft out of there sometime early this year. The hangar number 1, 531, they owe $531. So he had, and we spoke about this last meeting, he actually had removed his aircraft out of hangar 1 sometime early September, I think. So he was looking at his and we were looking at ours. They're just not matching up. So that's been a work in progress. As far as building 47, they have made a payment of, $4,000 a few weeks ago, and they will be making us whole as well. Hangar 2 office, they're just waiting for, their legal counsel has advised them to wait until they go through probate for that. And then the last but not least is the last T hangar, and once again, I'm just having a hard time tracking them down.
Janelle, on the Hangar 2 office with Stanley Associates,
Yes,
you indicated they're going through probate, but have they indicated a willingness to pay once they're through that process?
yes, it's just the Wayne County is backed up in the probate, so, I mean, it could be upwards of, I've found, maybe 6 months, so it's gonna take some time. I believe that they started it, well, it's been 2 months, so hopefully sooner than later. I spoke to her last week, so that was the update, earlier this week, that was the update. Any
Have any
questions?
questions on the past due rent summary?
I just have a question on, is there any that we should just write off?
I would recommend, probably the T hanger for $374. There was a bunch of, there was a aircraft switches with that, so, people seem to be confused on who was responsible for what with that one. I'm not sure where the tie down, I don't know where he is. I've been trying forever. I think I've tried 7 numbers. Non-working.
Got an 8th?
Is there a plane?
Oh, we've already talked about that.
Is there a plane being tied down?
There's a plane.
That's the one with the boot?
That's the one with the boot.
Been there forever.
I don't know where he is. He lived in, I mean, I have no idea.
Can we,
I found a new address for him, which I gave to the billing department, but, that's gonna take a little bit of time. I mean, for that one, I would recommend just waiting to see if this new address even goes through, and then we can readdress that next month. That would be my recommendation. Just see what happens and see if the new address that I found that I just provided to them even works. I mean,
Update at the next
yeah, I
meeting.
can give you an update with that. That's no problem. Any other questions?
Mr. Hornby?
You're looking at past due after 30 days or even sooner?
We should, yes.
60, other things can run away from us, and we've been pretty fortunate, I think, for the most part, but
We can do that, sure. Any other comments or questions on the past due summary or the financial report? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve both the October and November reports.
so moved.
or
By Mr. Rathel, supported by Mr. Hornby, to approve the October and November 2021 financial reports. All those in favor say aye.
aye.
All opposed say no. Motion Carries. I'm going to interrupt our agenda for a minute and ask Mr. Duker if he would like to come to the podium.
Hey guys, long time no see. Thank you for having me back.
Mike ended his employment here without us giving him a proper thank you and send-off, so we invited him back here tonight. And Mike, we have, I don't know, would I call this a plaque, Mr. Rathel?
Well, it's definitely something that you can hang on your wall.
That we'd like to present to you tonight, Mike. And before we do that, just like to thank you for your service. It was a pleasure for us to see you here start as an intern and grow into an airport manager and then really become a success. I think you did a great job, especially in the last couple of years with all the improvements that we made and the revenue that's been increased here. I think puts us in a good position for the next couple of years. So thank you for your service and good luck in your future endeavors. I'd like to read this plaque that says, in sincere appreciation for your years of committed and dedicated service that contributed to the success of the Groseal Municipal Airport, you make a difference. Don't know if anyone else would like to add any comments?
For your service. Thank you.
So, yeah, I mean, it's, I don't know why you came back, get down. Mike, you know how I feel and the guys do as well, but I think it should be noted publicly that you were given a task, and I said something to you years ago. I said, your time here, you have a choice of coming through your time and leaving and forgotten, or you can put your fingerprints on this airport so they last for many years to come. And that's what you did. It doesn't take much to look around here and see a project that you did, that you implemented with your team and the people in the township, certainly township boards, this commission, but you spearheaded, and those projects, like Ron said, have given us the financial security to go do a lot of things in the future that otherwise we wouldn't be able to do. And that's what we're always charged to do, is to make sure this place is financially stable and secure, so we don't have to go out for township millages or anything. And what you've done really secured our future for many years. So thank you for all your time. We know you had to move on, and there's no hard feelings. We wish you the best in your career, and you will do great no matter what you do. So, and congratulations on another baby, I hear, coming your way.
2 in April.
So
Uh-oh. 2 boys.
you're
Trouble.
going, so.
Still man to man.
So I want to get a picture though of maybe
Yeah.
Ron presenting that to you.
Come around.
No, 1 boy now, 1 boy on the way.
Oh, okay. I'm like, whoa.
So full coverage.
Thank you again.
Very nice. I'll just say a quick word. I wanted to thank the commission for having me back, and this wonderful plaque, I think we'll call it, or some wall art. Definitely will sit well in my new office. But wanted to thank you guys for really giving me my start as well. As Ron said, I started here as an intern. I think I was kind of written off when Derek had left, and kind of was happy you guys were willing to give me a chance and really kickstart my career. You guys brought me on when I was 21 years old, fresh. I hadn't actually even finished college yet. I'm not sure how you allowed me to be here with that. So I was finishing school. I was working here, 50 hours a week, trying to learn the job as fast as I could, and driving to Eastern at night, driving home, and putting in the really hard work. And I want to thank the commission for giving me that initial opportunity, really working with me to kind of bring me up, push me when I needed to be pushed, and really support, some of the ideas I had, and always helping me work through the political the political challenges and kind of network throughout the township to really get our big projects done. I really mean that this commission is one of the best run commissions on the island. It really is. So you guys, I think, have your heads on great. We were able to do and achieve so much. For a lot of, we kind of, when I got here, inherited a airport that was doing all right. It was, saddled with debt for a lot of non-revenue generating projects. I was lucky enough to get to see that kind of mature. And I really believe the airport right now is the best situated moving forward to the future, as part of being an airport and also integrating into the community and continuing its development stage. So I really think with the new grant funds you guys have coming in, all the new revenues from all our projects, I mean, I think you guys are set up great. I think you're going to do really well. I think trying to keep the community involvement, keep the tenants happy, and keep finding those revenue generating projects. And I think the airport's going to be here in perpetuity, forever. I mean, that's how we always kind of managed and did our projects, and that was one of our favorite words. So I want to thank you guys for all your wonderful support and patience with me and bringing me up and working together. So thank you for having me back down. Means
Thanks,
a lot.
Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, guys.
Merry Christmas.
With that, we will move on to our next item, which is our manager's report. And the first item is the introduction of our new manager. We went through a process where we advertised for the position, and I think we got 10 applications, and Derek Thiel, John Rathel, and I reviewed those, went through a process where each one of us graded those 10 applications. We came together and picked out what we thought were the top 3 candidates. We invited all 3 for interviews. We ended up interviewing 2 of them. The third candidate had already found a position by the time we set up the interview. So we went back and looked at the group again and picked out a third one because we thought it was important that we do interview 3 of them. And so we ended up interviewing a third candidate, and at the conclusion of that, we felt that based on the qualifications and through the process, it sort of came to light that about 70 to 75% of the duties of the airport manager are actually managing the real estate, which includes the land and the leases here at the airport, and about 25 to 30% of their time is spent on actually managing the airport. And after we concluded our review and concluded our interviews, it was the unanimous decision of the selection group to offer the position to Janelle. So, Janelle, I'd like to welcome you to our new airport manager, and obviously any kind of support that any of us can give you while you're sort of learning the process, please reach out to us. And I'd also like to thank Mr. Rathel for all the hard work that he's put in since Mike left. John, I know, has spent a lot of time here at the airport working with Janelle and working with Derek and trying to make sure that the airport continues to run smoothly without having Janelle in place. And so thank you, John, for all your efforts. And I know you will continue to mentor Janelle like I think all of us will do. And hopefully we'll have a success as good as Mike has had here at the airport. So welcome. So now we are going to turn it over to you, Janelle, to report on a number of items under that manager's report. And I'll just let you run down these one item at a time, starting with the accounts receivables, which we kind of went through that. I don't know if there was anything else other than the past due rent that you wanted to talk about.
No, I
Nope,
think,
that's it.
no, I think we covered that, accounts receivable.
Okay, if you want to go to the next item, which is the Building 63 tenant update.
Building 63 tenant update has been going smoothly. I think that in the accounts receivable, we covered one of the discussions with regards to that. There's some movement over in 63. I suppose one thing we can add to the discussion is that I've had a few phone calls that people are looking for openings in that building. And as of now, it doesn't really look like we're gonna have any openings in the near future. So I don't know where people's thoughts are with continuing to build some of those out, but, just food for thought on that. I suppose that would be my biggest update with regards to that. I have, I think I've spoken with 4 different possible leads in looking for a facility to run a business just like the build-outs over in 63. So,
Janelle, do you have any idea how serious those 4 are? Are they just sort of kicking the tires, or are they people that you think would sign a couple-year lease?
I can investigate that a little bit more. We were going to kind of wrap back around after the first of the year. These discussions were just brought up maybe 2-3 weeks ago. So I'm not sure how serious they are right now. They could be just kicking ideas around, so I'll investigate that a little bit. But, I mean, that was kind of the update on that, and to see and kind of just plant the seed and figure out if that's something we would like to do moving forward. So that's the update with that. Anybody have any questions with that, and then I'll move on.
Any questions? Move on to Pirates Cove.
So Pirates Cove is moving along swimmingly. They did find an underground water line main, so they had to stop for just a brief moment until they got approval from Wayne County to turn off the main for that. It should be up and going in the next few days. So if you guys haven't seen a lot of activity over there, that would be the reason for that. So they're hoping to, get that moving and get approval here in the next few days, hopefully next week or 2.
They have all their material on site now. I know we gave them a couple places to store.
I think that they have the material that they need for the phases. From the way that I understood it, they were bringing the material over per phase. So I haven't really discussed that with them. I can find out.
I was just curious.
Yeah. It sounded to me that it was just coming over in phases. They would bring the material over for that phase and so on and so forth.
Any questions for Janelle on Pirates Cove? Hearing none, we'll move on to the EPA building upkeep and action plan with the township.
So, as everybody knows, that did close and has been finalized, and we have been in contact with the new owners. We have contacted the new owners in regards to their lawn maintenance. We've actually been over to the building to make sure that and I know we had spoken about the fire suppression system over there, making sure that the fire marshal was able to get in there to make sure that everything was heated and we weren't gonna have any issues with that. That's all been secured and done. We've met with them. We've spoken with them in regards to the tea hanger, the tin tea hanger over there. I left a message just last week to follow up with them and figure out if they've had an opportunity to discuss that and how we would, make arrangements to hopefully get that over to us. They have hired, a lawn maintenance company for the snow removal and, to start getting a landscaping plan together, at least a landscaping lawn removal for the upcoming springtime. So that's the update with that.
Janelle, do you know how long ago did they close?
October 18th. Yeah.
Any questions for Janelle on the EPA building? Hearing none, we'll move on to the inventory of our vacant spaces.
So the inventory of the vacant spaces over in Hangar 2, which is the FBO, we actually have one tenant that will be vacating in the next month or 2, which is leaving us with 4 vacancies on the south side of the building and 4 vacancies on the north side of the building. However, I was been showing that building, and I potentially have a tenant that will be renting out the north side, the upper side of the north side, which would be, they're looking at renting out all 3 vacancies on that top east side of that building. So, once again, we are gonna wrap back around after the holidays. We were gonna discuss that. So they seem very promising. I've met with them a few times. I've spoken with them a few times on the phone, so hopefully that will move forward with that. And as far as the vacancies across the street at 61, 62, those are all still available. Our new maintenance crew has been working over there, getting that cleaned up from, just a road, from the roadside view. So I've been in there, the heat's on, it's all been updated. I've had Guy and Missler over there to make sure that the furnaces are up and going for the winter as well.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Anything else? Any questions for Janelle on the inventory update?
If not, we'll move on to our next item, which is maintenance training, and I think the board knows that we've got 2 new maintenance people that have recently joined our team, and we need to get them trained, so you want to give us an update on that, Janelle?
Sure, so we have, our first maintenance staff member has started, a few weeks ago. Thus far, and I'm gonna kind of give you a fuel farm update with this as well. So thus far, with regards to his training, Aero Energy has been in, and they have trained him, one face-to-face, and then we were able to watch some of the videos that he had as a group up here in my office, for part of his training, as far as the quality of the fuel goes. Yesterday, Sparling was out, and he had, training from, several hours of training yesterday in regards to the equipment side of things. So as for the fuel farm, he has a very clear understanding of what is expected with regards to that. We have spoken to MDOT in trying to get their take on maybe some training through them. They're discussing with their lead inspection gentleman that was going to get back to us and see if we can have him come out for the staff. So the second maintenance gentleman, Frank, he'll be starting January 3rd. So ideally, if MDOT's gonna come out, it would be ideal to have them come out, so they only have to come out once for him. The fuel farm, we couldn't wait. We had to have somebody train them right away. As far as becoming a certified operator for the storm sewers, we've been speaking with Rains Engineering and trying to coordinate with them also the 1st of January to get them trained in storm sewers, so they have a clearer understanding of that. I think that's the training. I've been working with Gene and giving him ideas and keeping him motivated to do the things that, you know, we've discussed, the daily maintenance and the monthly maintenance around the airport. So that's kind of the update with the training, if anybody has any questions.
About snow plowing, is that something that they need to be trained on, or is that?
It seems that they have a very good idea. John Kime and Derek, for the very first snowfall, went out and worked with, well, it was John Kime and Sam and Derek and Gene for the first snowfall, and it seemed like it went really well. To my understanding is that they were able to get it done in a fairly quickly time frame and plowed it the way that it was supposed to be plowed. So I think that that's where MDOT would be coming in as well, to ask them those questions and have them talk to the staff about that.
Thank you. Any questions on maintenance personnel?
Hearing none, we'll move on to the fuel farm update. Did you want to add anything to what you've already said about that?
No, I
Janelle?
kind of incorporated that. And
Then we'll move on to the ramp improvement project.
so I met with them, I met with CNS today, and we discussed the project and where they are with the schedule. And so they had given me a time frame, just a preliminary time frame, but they're at like 30% of where they are with finalizing all of their plans for that, but it's been moving along, been working with, them. We are working on, and you guys will be receiving an email for sustainability project that we have to involve, it's like a focus group in order to discuss sustainability here on the airport with the taxiway project. And they're looking to gather a group of 20 to 25 people from the different shareholders throughout the airport to give their opinion and advice and any brainstorms that they may have. It looks like we are aiming to do this, a sustainability, January 24th. I'll be sending an email out as soon as I formulate that to the different shareholders, stakeholders for that.
Does that have to be, is that a public hearing?
No.
Janelle? No.
No, it'll be a private thing, but just bringing it up, so no, it will be private. So it'll be basically like a focus group.
How is it determined who the focus group is?
So that they have, they break down, I guess, what it would be like CNS, MDOT, and FAA. They all come together and say, we would like the stakeholders in opinion, so we want to take a little piece of the pie from all of these different areas in the airport. So whether it would be the commission, the airport advisory, the township, engineers, all of that, and they say we'd like to try to have as many people as possible in order to get an idea from all different perspectives.
It's all different groups that are tied somehow to the
Somehow
airport.
tied to the airport, yes.
Any comments or questions for Janelle on the ramp improvement project? Hearing none, move on to the maintenance equipment.
So the maintenance equipment kind of answers the question in regards to the snow removal. I'm actually meeting a mechanic over there to look and make sure that the New Holland has been maintained for the upcoming winter season, along with the dump truck over there for making sure that the plows are gonna be in working order all winter long. So that is the maintenance equipment, to have him come in and take a look at that for us.
That's regular maintenance that we do every year. Any comments or questions on the maintenance equipment? Thanks, Janelle. We will move on to our next item, which is action items that we have none tonight, so we will move on to our discussion items. Item number A is the Build Back America Fund projects at $152,000 annually for 5 years. And it's my understanding that that's being discussed. There's nothing in writing that we are going to receive it, but was that reported to us through CNS, Janelle?
Yeah, so the first part of that was actually the Carissa phase. So there's a grant that came through on the Carissa phase, which was actually approved by the board on December 13th, which was moved on to CNS for approval for that, which was, we'll be receiving $13,000 for the Carissa Act, but that was the first step to moving on for the infrastructure bill as well. So,
Any idea when it might become official?
I asked that question today, and the answer was no. They don't have any idea. There was no time frame at all. You know, if we look at the time frame from the Carissa, which was approved in July, it was like approved July something, and we just signed it and sent it over. They just were able to get the paperwork for us for that, so that was the time frame for that. 5 months, but I don't know if it's gonna take that long for this new bill.
Next two items, our landscape plan and our T-hanger repairs are items that we've had some discussion on. Should we get this $152,000 a year for the next 5 years? These are two of the projects that are being discussed that maybe we should spend that money on, but I'd like to open it up and we can either do it today, or if anyone has, you want to think about it and bring it back at our next meeting of really what are the capital improvement projects that need to happen here, and at some point we're going to need to prioritize them in a certain order as the funding becomes available. So these are just two. As you know, we've been talking about sprucing up this area with the landscape plan that we had drawn up for us a couple years ago. It's a couple years old now, and it's about time that we kind of move that up to the top or near the top of the list and start making some of those improvements. We obviously aren't going to make them all at one time, but at least get the plan started. And the same with the T-hangers. We've been talking about repairing those for a while. And it's something that we've liked to do, just haven't had the resource to do it. And now that hopefully this will come about, again, that's something that I think we should put at the top or near the top of the list. So I'll open it up for anyone else that wants to suggest any projects that need to be put on the list, or if you want to think about it and bring it back at the next meeting, that's fine too. Janelle?
I do have stuff to say.
Okay.
I think my first question is that I know that there's been discussion of the landscaping plan. I believe there were some plans in the office that I've looked at. Do we get quotes for that?
No.
No.
Where we left it was we had a landscape architect. We hired one to put together a master plan of how we can make improvements and kind of tie the airport and the Commerce Park together with sort of a common theme and just sort of spruce it up and make it, I guess I would say, take it to the next level in appearance. And the idea was that as funding became available, we would do parts at a time, and over a certain period of number of years, it would all be completed and then tied together. And one of them is the entranceway here, right where Pirates Cove is, and they're going to be doing the west side of the street. And as an agreement, we've talked about this before at our meeting, in exchange for us allowing them to store some of their material on site, they're going to pay for some portion of what we'd like to do on the east side of that entry. So we may end up having to spend some of our money to finish that. We haven't really determined with Pirates Cove yet how much they're going to pay for and what they're going to pay for. And then we recently redid the pavement at the entrance that we'd like to, spruce that up as well. So that's kind of the first two items, I think, of the plan that we'd like to get done.
I think that, I guess I would recommend, or if we're trying to figure out what we're planning on doing this, I mean, getting some quotes would probably be a good idea in the upcoming next few months to figure out what we're gonna do, how we're gonna move forward with that.
Couldn't agree more that I'd like to do that over the winter, and come spring and summer, we're ready to go with the installation of some of that.
I mean, I would suppose that, I feel the same way with regards to painting the T-hangers. If we were gonna discuss that, and then the repairs for the T-hanger repairs. So the outfit that we've been using, is Toledo Overhead. They are out of Toledo, and it's very expensive for them to drive so far to come and maintain the T-hangers. So we've been looking into different companies to give us quotes, and I actually met with a new door repair company earlier this week. Met with them for a couple of hours to get an idea of what they would charge versus what Toledo Overhead would charge for maintaining the cables on the doors, and then the motors are starting, so the cables are fraying and some of the motors are going bad. So I was curious to know what their cost would be versus Toledo Overhead. So I've been working with them. They came out, spent quite a bit of time with me and Bob a couple of days ago. So I can forward on that information once I receive it, and we can decide if that's something we want to, put on that agenda too.
Sure. I not sure I'm up to speed with the purchasing requirements of the township, but I think if we got 3 bids, that would satisfy.
Okay. So 3 bids on, the hangar repairs would be, I mean, I have to understand what the scope of work is, and this company came out and was really thorough. The hangar door repairs, and I'm open for anybody that has any other people that we can find that wouldn't have to travel so far. So I know that there was another company that we were reaching out to, and we haven't heard back. So to get people down here, to get the hangar doors fixed it's been difficult from what I'm learning. So if anybody has any recommendations, I'm open for them. I'm all ears.
Sure.
Mr. Ray.
We had T-hanger repairs in bulk, you know, if one went bad, we fixed it. So I just say that, I don't need any, you know, it's just,
Yeah.
my feeling is that painting the T-hangers and having a price on that and a plan, right, because that's, you're gonna spray, you can't have planes in it, and I mean, that's logistically more difficult. So, yeah, I just wanted to mention that on the T-hangers, and then if someone else has something on a list.
Landscaping's top of my list. Beautify this area.
Well, again, if no one has any thoughts right off the top.
So not only do we need these project lists, but we also need the capital improvement or building improvements too, you know, and a plan of funding those.
Yeah, I think besides having the list, we need to also have a budget put together for each one of the items
Yeah.
on the list, so we can prioritize
Exactly.
what each one costs and
What
then.
it's gonna look like.
And you've been working, I mean,
Janelle, you sent out an email about this a couple weeks ago to everybody with this drawing, correct?
first of all, I wouldn't be comfortable with just having runners on the ramps. 1735 is closed. But I certainly wouldn't be in favor of having anyone run on a ramp for a 3-hour block or a 4-hour block unless the pilots kind of bought into it. My personal feeling, though, is I would be against it. I mean, they're running on an active ramp.
Correct.
I mean, it's not.
Like right by the
and-
fuel farm, all the way up, and then they
yeah,
wanna
and
run.
they're running in
in
between T-hangers. and,
T-hangers.
And I'm glad that, you know, they think that's cool, but my alternate suggestion, unless the pilots think that that's okay, I mean, if they're cool with it, then, but my alternate suggestion would be to come in off of Grow Road. There's a gate there that we had when we had the Michigan Jets on 1735. Come in off of Grow Road, run to 1735, run to the end of 1735, turn around, head north again on 1735 and back out to Grow, and then take Grow east, I think, is where they want to go.
So it would be where the recycling is over there,
Farther
Further.
west.
further west than that.
Yeah, there's a gate there that cars used to
Sure.
come through for the Michigan Jets. And then, you know, there's a road there, it's a dirt, you know, and they could come in off of Grow and just head out the runway, come back, and then go back out to Grow.
Okay. Versus this pattern that we're looking at
Yeah, but that's
now.
only, you know, I mean, if they really want this and the Airport Advisory Committee says, hey, we're cool with it, then I don't have a problem with it. I'm just thinking that it's kind of crazy to me.
So why don't I set up a meeting with the Airport Advisory Committee, and then we can, I'll get back to you on that.
You have a day certain that you need to respond to them by?
She did not specify a date, but I'm gonna guess that if the race is in March, they're gonna wanna have something, you know, no later than 1st of February would be my guess.
Yeah, I would think no later than the end of January, so.
Yeah. So I'd like to be able to tell them one way or another what our recommendations would be for the safety of all parties.
Well, if you can meet with the advisory committee before our January meeting, you can report back to us and then we can make a decision. It is.
But I think it's cool that they wanna do it here.
No, I think it's awesome that they wanna do it. Is there a difference on what day of the week it is, Chris?
Well, I think Sundays usually have less airplane traffic, but maybe not. I'm not a pilot. I'm just going off of Sundays. Maybe you have more.
Or the weekends, you may have more,
You may
yeah.
have more.
But one, if somebody needs to get to a fuel farm, or they need to get their plane out of the T hangar, and, you know, they can't, I mean,
Yeah, I think your idea is a very good idea, just going up that way.
I can't imagine anyone will be concerned about 1735, it's not open, so.
It does come in close proximity to the approach end of Runway 4. And so if you have people going down to the very end of the runway, there could be incoming traffic with airplanes.
Get with the advisory committee.
Yeah,
Curb and back.
I'll send an email to the airport advisory committee and have a discussion with them and get back.
Okay, thank you. Move on to our next item, which is Runway 1735 Funding FAA. Is there anything new with that, Janelle?
Not as of now, no.
And move on to our next item, which is capital improvements. Is there anything else to be discussed under that, other than what we've already talked about?
I think we've covered it
Covered
all.
that. Okay. And then capital purchases, are we in need of anything in the near future that you're aware of, Janelle?
No, I think that the reason I put this on there is kind of looking for the advice of you guys, that if you guys could think about it and wrap back around in any ideas that you would have on my end for the January meeting, I think that would be appreciated on my end.
Okay. And maybe if you could give us some idea of what equipment we have and maybe what shape it's in, because I'm not that familiar with all the equipment that we have here and what might be needed, you know, how old something might be.
Well, I think that's what I'm meeting this evening with the maintenance, or the mechanic, to have him give me an idea of the equipment we have over there. And maybe he'll be able to give me a better understanding of what we may or may not need.
I think our lawnmower's relatively new and the
Trucks are
truck
good,
is
and,
relatively new, so.
yeah, I think our snow plows are fine, but, you know, getting ready to start our budget for 22, 23, you know, we need to make sure we budget for anything that you need. That's, you know, it's, if we do it now, even if we don't purchase it, okay, that's fine, but, you know, if it's not on the budget, and you need it, it's gonna be a lot harder to get it, right? So,
Exactly. So I think I'm just looking into the future, and even, I mean, if there's a repair that needs to be done, that, I mean, I'm not sure how expensive the equipment is to maintain it. And it looks like the hydraulic, it's leaking hydraulic fluid for the New Holland, and we don't wanna run into a situation where it's down and we have to wait and get it repaired, and if we can have whatever materials on hand to get it fixed, and then we don't have to wait, 2-3 months to get a new hose that we may need, so.
now's the time to have your wish list, right? To,
Yeah. So I think that's what I was looking for, from advice from you guys, and you guys can help me
We
out.
don't want you to get anything. We want you to fix what you have, and we don't wanna spend any money.
Fine.
Fine. Boy,
sure-
you're a lot different than Duker was.
No, I mean, I'm getting a wish list together. I mean,
Now's too new to fight back yet, so.
us together.
Give her a couple meetings.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Now, the next meeting's gonna have a wish list this long.
Yeah, there you go. I like that.
Our next item is the tennis center roof, and Mr. Athel's already mentioned that, you know, it's gonna need to be replaced at some point in the future. Don't know when that is, but are you getting any complaints of water in there from the tennis? People?
I've sent over the roofing company, I don't know how many times, to fix leaks over there. And I feel like they chase the leak. So the leak will be here, and then all of a sudden the leak will be here, and then the leak will be here. I mean, water finds its way. So
Is it interrupting play in any of the activities there, do you know?
we fixed it a couple of months ago. I had them out to fix it a few months ago, and the last leak was not on the court. It was just right outside of the court, but no, not yet, but, you know, it's
There's
only.
another one.
No, there's not.
Yeah, right.
That, no,
Um,
when did that one happen? See,
Well, today, there was a puddle of water, but when it rained, when we had some real strong winds and rain last week, so it was between the first and second courts. The first court is where the exercise equipment is, right?
Yes.
That was the first court. So the second court is tennis and pickleball, and the third court is tennis and pickleball. It leaked right in the middle of those two.
oh, and then the leak that I had reported to Holbrook's was down in the tennis, it would be the second court in from the west side.
That's farther down, so this is a
Yeah,
different leak.
so it's a
And
different
that's
leak.
been a problem for years.
Yeah.
There's always been a puddle there during hard rains.
Yeah, so I feel like we're
So
just,
there are leaks, and it gets to the point where do we bite the bullet, you know, I mean, do we?
yeah, I mean, it's just essentially, I feel like we're just throwing good money after bad. To send Holbrook's out there, or, you know, any roofing company out there.
I think it's probably time that we get an idea what that's gonna cost. So maybe if you could talk to Holbrook and, you know, it doesn't have to be an exact quote, but at least give us an idea. Is it 200,000? Is it 300,000?
400, 5, what it's gonna cost. So, I'll get some quotes for the upcoming.
Now, could you also figure out how much we've spent year to date on roof repairs for our next meeting? Unless you have that.
I do not.
Are there any other comments or questions on our discussion items? Hearing none, we'll move on to our subcommittee reports that we have none tonight. We are not going into any closed session. Chairman's report, I have, other than all the things we already talked about today, I have nothing new to report, so I'd like to open it up to public comment.
Well, we do, Mr. Chair, before we do
Mr.
that,
Rachel.
we do have, maybe some old business or new business or, we can do it under your chairman's report.
Sure.
About the, bike path going to the nature center.
Yes. That was the item I was referring to before. You did send out a map, Janelle, to the entire board about this, moving this fence to the east and allowing for, to the west, I'm sorry.
The west. Allowing for a bike path, so if out to grow, they wanna carry on a bike path for that, but I have not seen the map for that. That must have come from somewhere else. Did someone else send?
Yeah, no, you sent it out. It was just a Google satellite image, and somebody put a red line from Grow Road down to the nature center.
Or maybe Derek did it.
I didn't see it.
You didn't.
I didn't see that. I don't think that came from me.
Remember from long
That might have
ago.
came from it might have come from, I've talked to people about it. I'm familiar with it.
Well,
So,
It doesn't matter where it came from, but
one of
So-
the issues is that they wanted to apply for a grant. 'Cause do you remember, Mr. Ratho, how much the cost was?
Yeah, so this all started, quick history, because the commission needs basically give their blessing with this. So, we have the nature center down on the south end there, and Peter Kantz and the Nature and Land Conservancy has done just a great job of cleaning a lot of that up and putting it in paths, and it's a wonderful asset to the community. The problem is that, in my opinion, there's really no safe way to get there unless you drive. So, you're on East River Road, there's turns, there's blind turns, and, as you're a family, you're riding a bike or something down there, it's just too dangerous. And so, the Bike Path Commission, I don't know what the whole name is, but, yeah, it's a real,
Bike Path Advisory Committee, that's what.
yeah, so that commission has worked to try to get funding, and Carl Bletcher's been working a lot on this to put a path in. So they went out and they got an estimate or something. It was like $1 million. It was kind of crazy. So now they found some potential monies to do this, and not necessarily put a paved bike path, but kind of use the existing access road that we have now and do that. For us, we would have to give up that land, right, which is really not used for anything, but we'd need a fence around the airport. They just couldn't take the fence down and then they would have to put a fence up on the west side of that, a new fence for the airport. So that's what they're going out to do, a grant, try to get grant money to do that. They feel confident that they could get this, but obviously they can't do it unless they have the Commerce Park blessing to do it. So, I think, Ron, you said just go out and do the grant application, and then if the commission doesn't agree with it, we can. Yeah.
They had a deadline that they needed to submit the grant application. And so there was discussion about that, and we agreed to tell them to move forward with the grant application. And so at some point, if they happen to get the grant, which is to relocate the fence to the west, then we would have to give final approval for that to happen. So is there anyone that would object to that?
So do you know if they move forward in doing the grant application? Is that definitely something that they did move forward with? And when did that happen?
They had to have it in by the 15th.
Okay. So then the fence line would just be moved to the west of that service drive that we're in discussion. Is that correct? Yes. Okay. The only thing that we use that service drive for is the NDB back there. So then there would have to be a gate to the NDB for access, for maintenance.
And I think that was on their plan, if I remember. They
Yeah,
showed a gate there.
if that would be my only thing, is to make sure that we have access to the NDB for that to be maintained still, in the event that we decide to.
Yes.
We'll make sure that plan gets out to everybody so you can see, what they're talking about. I think it was a Google Earth map that I saw. It's inside our fence right now, right? Yeah. Yes. Correct. Yeah, they need to be outside our fence. But there's no room right now, so the only place to put it, we'd have to move our fence, but that's what the grant application is for, is to pay for the relocation of the fence.
Of a fence.
Come up, I can't hear him or anything.
Carl, do you want to come up to the podium so people can hear? Yeah. Just So you can speak into the microphone so people can hear you.
Carl Rig, 24391 Park Lane. So you'd be moving the airport fence westward?
Yes,
That's existing?
yes.
All right. There's enough road distance between the road and that fence line now? How big a pathway you gonna put down there?
I don't know if I saw the dimension, but it was,
I mean, they just had
You
two
know,
big,
8 feet or
huge
something like that.
generators sitting in there, and I don't remember exactly what it is, but it looks like it's at least 8 to 10 feet from the road to the fence, and then it actually goes, let's see, how big a path they're gonna make? You're gonna offset it off the road. Okay.
yes.
That's gonna have an offset of probably, what, 8 to 10 feet?
Yeah, I'm guessing they're gonna get advice from the township engineer as to how
Yeah.
far that
And
should
then-
be located away from the road.
Path is about maybe 5 or 6 feet wide.
Yeah, I'd say 6 to 8 feet
I
maybe.
think there's some room there that you don't have to move the fence.
It would be great
Yeah,
if accomplish what they need to do without moving the fence, and we'll certainly work with them to see if they can do
caution
that.
that moving a fence, yeah, that's expensive. And we probably wouldn't approve of it, so there.
Well, Carl, let me just say a couple things. Number one, this project has been in discussion for
I know.
almost 2 years. And they've had engineers and they've had the Bike Path Commission study this and the Nature and Land Conservancy study it. And the way that they have to do it is they need to move the fence. Now, if we have to move the fence 20 feet in from where it is now and give them that land, it is not gonna do anything whatsoever to the airport or its functionality or,
Well, it's something that we have to look at. We don't know. Right now, everybody's speculating what it is gonna be or not to be.
well, I think that for this commission is, I'm not sure that I care. The only thing that they're asking, I'm not on the Bike Path Commission, the only thing that they're asking is, would the Commerce Park Commission have an issue with them moving forward with the project and then moving that fence?
I think we need to take a look.
Say we, you're talking about the advisory,
Yeah, not me, the advisory,
I was gonna say, you wanna do it tonight or what?
advisory board.
Janelle can share that when she sets up a meeting with the advisory committee.
I'll add that to the agenda as then for the next time, I'll speak with the advisory committee with that and
Okay. You can report back to us.
back.
But for the record, the commission's position is,
No one objected tonight, so, assuming we get more exact detail, I think everyone's in favor of moving forward.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I think if I'm not mistaken, there's some ditches over on that side, drainage, and that, I'm not an engineer, but I think maybe they need to keep that drainage, that's why they need to move in further. But, I'm in favor of giving some land up to make the community safer and give them a bike path to a really nice area.
well, it's probably, in my opinion, the most needed non-motorized path on the island. I mean, we have the nature center, it's beautiful, but we don't have a way for people to get to it safely unless they drive. And we need to connect it to grow, to get people back there, and this is the only way to do it, so. Yeah, for sure.
And I'm sure it'll be done in conjunction with Rains's office, who is the township engineers.
Well, when you get the grant money, right, they just don't give you the money unless you do it.
You have to submit a
want,
plan,
Right, so
right.
you,
Is there any other item under discussion? If not, we'll open it up to open business, if anybody has any open business. Anyone? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
so moved.
Mr. Rathel, make a motion to adjourn, supported by Mr. Tenova. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say no. Motion carries.